Overdrive today, we bring you details about the world's first CNG motorcycle from Bajaj Auto and check out Audi's third electric line for the Indian market. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini Dutt. Let's start with the biggest news and the biggest launch from this week. Bajaj Auto has launched the world's very first CNG motorcycle. Yes, you heard that right. It's a CNG motorcycle. Let's get right to all the details.
This is the Bajaj Freedom CNG motorcycle. In this video, let's talk about the three different variants that are on offer. This is going to be the absolute base variant. So you see halogen lamps on this and no disc brakes. You get a drum brake at the front. This is priced at 95,000 rupees ex-showroom. To begin with, it's called the Freedom. You get that right on the forks. They've done this nice body panel and the Freedom logo goes right on it. The second E is going to be done up in the Indian tricolor. So a moment of pride for all Indians, because this is, Bajaj is claiming, the world's first CNG motorcycle, the first of its kind. So that's the other place where you're going to get the Bajaj Freedom logo right on the side. There's a 3D Bajaj emblem and right below that is the Freedom logo. Quite nicely done, looks quite nice, looks quite premium. You also get this panel on the side, and behind this is going to be a small 2-liter tank. That's for the petrol. And under the seat, right behind that, is the CNG tank. It's a 2 kg CNG tank that sits right below the seat. And they have intelligently used a trellis frame instead of a standard frame that we see on most other commuters. So the trellis frame essentially frees up space right in between for that tank and then also acts like a protective cage for it in case of an accident. So I think that's quite wisely executed. In fact, the premium bits don't stop there. You also get a monoshock suspension, you get a box swing arm, and you get a fat 120 section tire at the rear. So those things are quite nicely executed. You also get this very beefy engine guard right in the front. Behind that is the 125cc engine. That is the heart of this motorcycle. It puts out 9.5 PS of power, 9.7 Newton meters of torque. You can easily switch between CNG and petrol using this little switch. Now, we've seen in the past with cars as well, where CNG may not give you the kind of instantaneous torque that you want. Sometimes they can struggle on hill climbs, etc. So if that happens, you can seamlessly switch from CNG to petrol on the fly, and the engine will just draw the necessary fuel from either the tank or the petrol tank, depending on what you've chosen. Bajaj says a range of 330 kilometers is possible on this, which I think is phenomenal. So you will not need to make those frequent stops to CNG pumps because, well, if you've taken those cab rides, I'm sure you've always heard the cab driver say, "Sir, on the way CNG bharna hai," and that's usually a long wait, right? So you are going to be joining those queues if you're going to be buying one of these, but you will not have to do that often with that 330 kilometer range. That's what we are hoping. What is the real world range is something that we'll find out when we actually ride the motorcycle. Like I said, 2 kg tank sits right underneath, and that also makes sure that this tank element is pretty short. Because of that, the seat is pretty long, 20% longer than a standard 125cc motorcycle seat. So that's really long and really flat. But don't get ideas, don't put 3 or 4 people on that. The rider plus the pillion plus some space for your luggage should be good. Use it that way. If you're riding alone, you want to bungee some stuff at the back, because CNG might also be picked up by people who are running a small business or something, and they might use this as their one motorcycle to do it all. So from that perspective as well, you get these nice mounts so you can safely, securely bungee some stuff onto the rear seat. That's a completely flat seat, so that's again a very good addition. You get a chunky but usable grab handle right at the back. The tail light is LED, the blinkers are all halogen. You get the sari guard right here, so if sari clad ladies are going to be side saddling on this motorcycle with you, they should be easily able to get leverage here. The overall space for their feet is nicely executed. The sari guard also is nicely executed. There's an auxiliary and additional guard right beneath, so that nothing really gets entangled in that chain. It's a chain drive, it's a 5-speed gearbox, it's a 1 down 4 up configuration that you see right here, and it's a toe and heel shifter. Even the foot pegs are quite nicely executed, and I quite like that. The engine, horizontal configuration, 125cc like I told you, but we have seen 125cc motorcycles usually have ABS options. Unfortunately, you don't get that on this. In fact, Bajaj's own Platina 110 also gets an ABS option, but this one doesn't. So I don't know why they've done that. Anyway, you can either choose a disc, that's the top end model, or you can get a drum with the LED headlight, or you can simply get a drum with a standard halogen headlight. That's going to be the base model at 95,000 rupees. Drum plus LED is going to be 1,05,000 ex-showroom, and disc plus LED is going to be 1,10,000 ex-showroom. No ABS option, like I mentioned. Interestingly, the wheel sizes. There's a 17-inch front shod with a 90/80 rubber Euro grip. The rear is a 120 but shod on a 16-inch rim, so that is going to limit your tire choice options. So let me know what are your thoughts on that. You get this big wheel hugger. Bajaj loves doing wheel huggers. There's also an additional bit of plastic element right here. The CNG logo goes here to tell the world you are trying sustainable mobility. Now, in terms of the sound, not too different than your standard 125cc single, so let's take a listen. So that's on petrol. Let me move to CNG. Like I said, seamless transition, just a little stutter there, and now it's CNG. And for the onlookers, how do they know it's CNG? You can smell it, you can smell the gas. Anyway, let's turn that off. Now let's move to the cluster, and let me turn this on again so that you can quickly take a look at what the negative cluster looks like. It is Bluetooth enabled, but you do not get any satellite or any navigation on it or through your phone or whatever. You are only going to get notifications for your messages, your calls, etc. Nothing to do with navigation. So for navigation, you're going to mount your phone here. They've given this additional bar on the handlebar. It's pretty slim. You'll need to look for compatible mounts, and you can power your phone using this USB-A charger that you get right here. I hope you're able to see that. Right, so that's going to be the handlebar. That's the switch gear. This is where you start the bike from. This is where you're going to switch between petrol and CNG, turn blinker, horn, and what is this? What's the phone thing? Is it SOS? I don't know. Anyway, speaking of SOS, speaking of safety, they have done 11 safety tests, including one where they've taken a multi-axle trailer right over the motorcycle with the container on top of it. So heavy truck going right on top of the motorcycle, and the tank still remains fine, doesn't explode, doesn't lead to any leaks or whatever. So that's very good. So in terms of the range, I told you it's going to be 330 kilometers on 2 kgs of CNG. So do the math. But Bajaj gives you another math. If you were to run it on CNG for the next 5 years, you will save 75,000 rupees compared to the running cost of a 125cc petrol. So I think that is pretty good. That's good math to go with. So will you pick up a CNG motorcycle? That's going to be the big question. Let us know. If there is something that we haven't covered in this walk around and you would like us to cover in our review, again, let us know on that as well.
We'll be riding this motorcycle pretty soon to bring you all the real world mileage, so stay tuned for that. We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we'll tell you all about the new Audi Q6 e-tron. Welcome back here with us on Overdrive. Now, Audi is all set to bring the Q6 e-tron as well as the SQ6 e-tron in the country. And these two SUVs feature some revolutionary AI technologies, enhanced driving features, and also stunning to look at. So we are here to find out whether the Q6 is worth all the hype.
You have already heard the new Porsche Macan has gone all electric, and in the Audi camp, its sibling is this. This is the Audi Q6, which is coming to India real soon. In fact, I'm calling it the sibling of the Macan is because both these cars were co-developed. They are based on the PPE architecture, a premium electric architecture that is co-developed by Porsche and Audi, which means it is very promising, not just on paper, but even on the road. But you know what's the big deal? I think this looks better than the Macan.
The new design language, with its striking headlights, LED technology and customizable DRL and lighting signatures, combined with the 3D OLEDs at the back, gives the Q6 e-tron a modern, cutting-edge appearance unmatched by the competition. Even within the Volkswagen group, there's no other car that exudes this level of new-age sophistication, at least with its lighting elements.
Now, if I were to compare it to the Q8 e-tron, it's the same kind of width, it's the same kind of length, almost, just a little bit shorter Shorter on the wheelbase for sure, but you have these shorter overhangs which give it really good proportions. And what really works well for this car is the marginally higher height that it has. On paper, nothing big, but when you actually look at the visual proportions, it looks like a proper Q car from Audi.
The choice of wheel sizes ranging from 18, 19 to 21 inches allows for customization, with the larger options reserved for the S line and the SQ6, enhancing its muscular stance. While it sits below the Q8 e-tron, it looks fairly large compared to rivals like the Mercedes-Benz EQB or the Jaguar I-Pace. I also think it packs in a lot more detail than the EQE.
Now once you're inside, what you're really going to like is the choice of materials that they've made. Nice soft materials everywhere, even on the lower parts. It's not soft touch plastics, but it feels all upmarket, which is something that I really like. Now the first thing is the materials, but the second thing that you will notice is how everything is driver centric. You also get augmented reality heads-up display, and oh my god, it works so well.
The co-passenger display, a feature borrowed from Porsche, adds a touch of high-tech wizardry. Equipped with an optional privacy glass, it ensures that only the passenger can see it, appearing as a blank piece of glass from the driver's seat to reduce distractions. The minimalist center console features a love-it-or-hate-it gear shifter knob. Some like me might miss Audi's chunky aircraft-style selectors, but the new design integrates seamlessly with the modern cabin aesthetic. I also like the dynamic ambient lighting. The steering wheel with its flat bottom and top looks and feels sporty. The touch-sensitive controls on it allow you to swipe or press, whatever floats your boat. It's a thoughtful design at its best.
There's one feature that just took me off guard, scared me almost, but now I really love it. So this little panel that you see here with the S badging on it, there's a speaker somewhere there. So when you have your sat nav on, all the route guidance is coming from here, not from the front, but at the rear, as if someone's just sort of, over your shoulder looking at what's happening and then telling you, okay, turn right, turn left. It's really handy. It's really handy. And then this can also double up as a surround sound speaker system if you like. The only drawback that I noticed so far is that if I'm using Google Maps with my Apple CarPlay, then the speaker is not active for the sat nav. I have to use the proprietary sat nav on the screen or the infotainment to be able to use that feature, but it's a really cool feature to have.
The shorter wheelbase compared to the Q8 e-tron means that the rear door size and aperture is slightly smaller too, but ingress and egress remain easy. The rear seats continue the theme of thoughtful design and quality. The AC vents are well crafted and the audio system is top-notch too. The center armrest comes with cup holders and the seat cushioning is firm but comfortable, perfect for long-distance journeys without feeling overly plush.
The cushioning slightly on the stiffer side, and I like it. It doesn't feel overtly soft. A lot of luxury manufacturers do that, and over long distances it just doesn't feel as comfortable. So here I really like it. Now the overall roominess is quite good. You can see there is no sunroof on this car. I don't know if they'll offer one on the India spec model or not, but even without that, even with the all black interiors of this SQ6, it just feels nice and roomy in here. In terms of space, well, under thigh support could have been a little better. In terms of the knee room, excellent. They've also scooped it out. You also get these pockets right here. So in terms of practicality and storage, it's quite good. Headroom is excellent. So even if you're going to be a 6-footer, I don't think you're going to be banging your heads anywhere at all in this car. So overall, I quite like the comfort. I quite like the room. It's a premium Audi, so obviously you get a powered tailgate. There you go. Now the loading lip is not too high, so getting your stuff into the boot, not a problem at all. The boot volume is actually quite good, very usable. If you look at the way it has been designed, it's like a proper square or a rectangle, whatever you want to call it. So getting all your big suitcases in is not going to be a problem at all. Like I said, the target audience for this is going to be very similar to the Q5. So road tripping is going to be an important factor for that buying audience. And there, getting all your stuff back in there is not going to be a problem. What adds further versatility is a 40-20-40 split for the seats. So overall, the premium feel follows from head to toe, just the way it should be in an Audi.
Welcome back here with us on Overdrive. Now, the Audi Q6 e-tron will be positioned below the Audi Q8 e-tron, and it offers great driving dynamics, range as well as comfort, and is perfect for a family. So would you want to put your money on it? Let's find out.
We spent a day each driving the Q6 and the SQ6, the quicker, more powerful sibling. Both the models sport a 100 kWh battery pack and a dual motor setup, though a single motor rear-wheel drive configuration is expected to arrive later as the base model Q6. For most real-world driving scenarios like accelerating off the mark, overtaking on the highway and general brisk driving, the Q6 performs admirably and will satisfy those looking for a balanced blend of performance and practicality. It's an electric Audi through and through, delivering a smooth, rapid acceleration that we've come to expect from this brand. This feels nice and brisk just the way it should with an electric Audi. So even if you were to settle for the Q6, you're not going to really feel shortchanged. But if you want something sportier, you have the SQ6. It's impressive that Audi has managed to integrate a 100 kWh battery pack even in a mid-size luxury crossover like the Q6 and across all of its variants. So irrespective of the model you get, single motor, dual motor, SQ6, they're claiming about 600 kilometers of range anyway. In the real world, I think 500 to 520 should be easily doable, because typically for this size of EV, I have seen the vehicles return about 5.6 to 5.7 kilometers per kilowatt hour, and I believe that that number should be a walk in the park for the Q6 and the SQ6. If anything, I actually expect it to be even better. Audi's improved thermal management ensures consistent charging speeds even as the battery heats up, maintaining around 200 kilowatt at 50% SOC and 120 kilowatt even at 80% SOC. Therefore, with 270 kilowatt charging, you can go from 10 to 80% in about 21 minutes. But even on a 120 kilowatt 400 volt charger, it will take about 35 to 40 minutes for at least a 300 kilometer refill. Perfect for that lunch break. So, AI is a buzzword for 2024, right? And it stays true even for the car makers. A lot of car makers are also talking a lot about AI. And AI is now going to be an integral part of the Q6's systems. In fact, all of the new systems that will come from Audi. So these systems will essentially take a look at your driving patterns, understand how you drive, what do you prefer, what kind of routes you take, what kind of air conditioning you prefer, what kind of comfort, features, all of that. It's going to essentially understand and make a profile for you. And then it is going to start doing route recommendations. It will maybe even recommend you when to turn on the seat massage or seat cooling if it's available, or steering heating, you know, those kind of functions. So all of that, it'll keep doing that, it'll keep giving you suggestions. AI enhances both regen modes and overall braking. Based on your driving patterns and GPS data, a new B mode enables single pedal driving in crowded cities, while a new D auto mode subtly slows down the car, optimizes energy regeneration whenever required. It even adjusts to speed limits for a smoother, more intuitive experience, all depending on the way you drive. The drive select switch is still, a bit far. It's not very intuitively placed. I would have liked it to be somewhere on the steering wheel, but it's fine. I mean, once you get the hang of it, probably it would be much easier. Now it's going to give you different driving modes. It's going to give you dynamic, comfort, efficiency, off-road, all self-explanatory. There's also a balanced driving mode. Again, using AI, again using data from the sat-nav, etc., and your driving patterns. It's going to understand, what kind of driving you do. Are you usually hard around corners? Are you nice and slow around corners? How much do you brake? What your driving patterns are. It will study all of that and it'll give you a more balanced driving mode in that sense. So if you want quick overtakes, if you are quick on the exits but slow through the corners, it will adapt all of it. It will adapt the suspension, it will adapt the powertrain responses to suit just that. In comfort mode, the suspension can feel a bit too soft, ideal for those smooth highways but a tad squishy around the bends. However, it excels on rough sections similar to B roads or the monsoon ravaged roads in India. Now, should you buy the Q6 or the Q8? At the moment at least, if the dealers have stocks and if you can haggle them for a discount,
you should be able to get the Q8 at a good price. But if pricing doesn't matter to you, if it's the tech that matters to you, then I think the Q6 at the moment is the better buy. It's got the better battery in terms of the density, the technology, etc. Like I said, it will definitely give you better range than the Q8 e-tron in the real world. I think it looks stunning. It's not too small. The wheelbase is shorter. The rear seat space is going to be a little lesser than the Q8 e-tron, but not something that will feel like a compromise at all. Even for a family of 4, the Q6 offers a lot of comfort, a lot of space, plenty of boot space as well. So if you were to choose this over a Q8, I don't think you're going to go wrong. That said, yes, there will be an all-new Q8 e-tron that will join the ranks very soon. It will utilize all of the tech that we've seen in this car and maybe even push the envelope further, but that's going to happen at a later date. So from the way I look at it, you won't go wrong choosing either one of them. Either haggle the dealer for a good discount and get the Q8 at a good price, or just get the Q6 and be happy for longer with the newer tech on offer. What do I think about the car overall? Well, I think I've summed it up. If I'm recommending you to maybe save money and get the SQ6, and if I'm recommending you to maybe spend more money and get the Q6 instead of a discounted Q8, that means I'm pretty impressed with this car. And I think that if you are shopping in the EV space, this is going to be one serious contender to look at. It looks good, it feels spacious, it drives well, and finally it feels like an all-new Audi, not an evolution of something that we've seen already in the past. So from all those standpoints, I think Audi have delivered an excellent all-rounder.
That's all the time we have on this week's episode of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through our various social media platforms, and you can write to us on YouTube as well. We'll see you next week. Until then, goodbye. Many thanks for watching. Drive and ride safe.